What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about Severance episode 8 titled Where's My Dinner? This is the second to last episode before the finale. So if you guys enjoy videos like this, please make sure to like it. Please make sure to subscribe if you're new. But let's talk about Severance episode 8. So after last week's crazy cliffhanger, I was stoked to see what was in store for this episode. And this episode begins, we get to see our first look at the Audi of Irving. And it seems like this version of Irving is very different from his Innie version. We get to see what that black gook is, that Irving's Innie. He had those hallucinations, remember the black gook coming out of the ceilings, like out of Mark's eye and everything. And we get to see that it's actually black paint. And so Irving's Audi likes to paint. I guess it's maybe some form of like therapeutic thing for him, whatever trauma that he's dealing with. And so he listens to like some heavy, hard rock, and he likes to paint with black paint only is what it seems, right? So I think this opening was just to give us our look at Irving's Audi, just to give us a sense of that this version of him is so much different from his Innie. And that's probably going to be a recurring theme for a lot of these characters. So now we get back to the severed workplace, and we see Dylan, Helly, Irving all together, and Mark. And so they're all watching over Helly, and it looks like they're trying to see if she will finish in time for the quarterly. I guess they have to meet a deadline in a certain time, and it was all up to Helly, I guess, to finish in time. So she finishes in time, it reaches 100%, and she gets this really weird animation. It's like an animated, cartoonish thing of Keir Egan congratulating her for reaching 100%. He says that she's done like a great job, references her by name, but it seems like to be like an automated name that they probably use for like every employee. And he says like, "I love you," which was sort of weird. And then he sort of like just flies away and says other people need him around the world. And then the animation ends. This was super weird. It felt like very, not out of place, but just like weird in the sense of like, why the Egans like do this, like this weird animation thing? It seems very cryptic, like what he says. Like, why does he say like, "I love you" to like one of his employees, right? Like that's such a weird thing to throw out there. And then the fact that he says like other people need me around the world, like does he mean like other employees? Does he mean like citizens? Like, I want to maybe look into that a little bit more. I feel like it's very cryptic there. Like a lot of things in this show, like almost everything that like Harmony says, and there's a lot of things in here in this show that are very cryptic that we still don't really know much about. It's definitely pertains to the Egans in general as well. And but after this, we see Harmony and Mark laughing in the office, and Harmony's just laughing about how they waited till like the last minute to finish the quarterly deadline, whatever, right? But she lets him know that she wants him to do one more wellness check. You know, she sort of tells him that it's like this monthly thing that she's having all the department heads do. But it gives us another chance to really get to see another interaction between Mark and Miss Casey, because as we know at the end of last episode, Miss Casey is Mark's wife. And so now that we know this information, like this interaction that we see, it's very different for the audience. You know, we're a lot more locked in. We're a lot more interested in what these two have to say to each other. So Mark meets with Miss Casey, and she has a bunch of boxes, and she announces that she's actually retiring from her job, or it's more like she's getting fired. And this is probably due to the fact that she did a bad job of watching over Helly. Mark still feels that guilt, and he sort of says it here and there, like, "Oh, I wish I could do something for you. Like, I'm going to try and do something for you." But I think she sees it as a lost cause. And so during their interaction, we also get a moment where Miss Casey pretty much admits to liking Mark in a way. She says that the 8 hours that she spent with his department was like the best hours of her life. And it looks like they use her in like a really different way than these other severed members. There's so much to actually talk about with her, but I guess I'll just start quickly by saying that they use her sporadically. It looks like they'll only wake her up when she has to do a wellness meeting. She says that her whole life is pretty much just of these half-an-hour sessions, and they make up only about like 107 hours of her actual life. And it made me wonder here. I was like, what do they do with her when they don't need her? Because she doesn't have an Audi form, or she could, but she's believed to be dead, so they wouldn't just put her Audi form out in the world, right? So it looks like they keep her locked away somewhere. As we know at the end, when Milchek gets her, and they bring her down this long, dark hallway, and she goes down an elevator, she's not going to the Audi world like how we see with these other severed employees. When they go down the elevator, they turn into their Audi form, and they go somewhere else. Now, maybe she does turn to her Audi form in that elevator, but I don't think she goes into the outside world. I think they have her locked up down there somewhere, And so she's either in her Audi form, locked away downstairs, and maybe she's deranged and insane, like she doesn't know what's going on. Maybe she's forced to go into this elevator like every day and she doesn't know why. Or it's just her severed self always, and they just kind of got rid of her Audi form because they don't need her. What's the point of having that around? Well, maybe they can just shut her severed brain off, and she's just like this robot downstairs that they don't even use, and that's how they look upon her. Very interesting stuff, though. And also right before this, we get a moment where we see Harmony and Milchek looking over the meeting of Mark and Miss Casey, and it looks like Harmony like wants Mark to remember, like she keeps making these meetings. She's asking Mark's sister if he remembers Miss Casey at all, or like remembers his wife at all, who is Miss Casey. But like the way that she's like making these meetings, and then the way Milchek even says to her, it's good that they don't remember each other because it means that the chips are working. And so this obviously means that the chips that we saw in Petey's head, looks like all the severed people, they have that sort of chip in their head, and that's what messes with their memory. So I guess Milchek was just saying that it's good that they don't remember each other because that means the chips are working. But the way he said it made me think that Harmony, wants maybe the chips to not work as well. She wants Mark to maybe remember his wife. Why? I don't know. It seems like she has some sort of vendetta or goal against the council of Lumen. Like she's going behind their back, as we'll see in the next scene when the Lumen company, when the council confronts her in a way. She's doing some shady stuff, and I don't really know what her end game is either. But after this, we get another office party type thing. We see that Dylan is getting the prize, I guess I forgot what the actual reason was. I'm guessing it was just like an employee of the month sort of thing. We don't actually get to see what the prize is in that scene. They don't show us. But after, we get like this office party that was really awkward, but it kind of made me laugh how Milchek was like, taking photos of them. And there's just like 4 people in a room, and Mark puts like the thumbs up. I thought it was funny because it's such a weird thing. Like, it's so awkward and cringy. But it's cool though, because when Dylan and Helly talk to each other, this is our first hint that there's going to be something going down. Like they have some sort of plan, right? And it seems like Helly is a little worried that Dylan is the one that needs to stay back, But Dylan's full on confident. He says like this is only the first step in the plan, as we'll see later when he's the one that stays back, as they're the ones that go into the Audi world, knowing that they'll be woken up, from their severance, and they become their innie selves in the Audi world, right? As we know, by the end, that doesn't happen. It's a cliffhanger, but we'll get to that. But after this, we go back to Harmony, who walks to their office, and there's that intermediate girl there, the secretary girl, who sort of talks for the council, and she starts questioning Harmony and saying, why didn't you tell us about Helly's attempted suicide? It's an important thing. And I guess they just had enough of her going behind their back, so they suspend her and ultimately fire her from the company. And Harmony tries to bargain and say that she can explain everything tonight, but they've already hung up, and so she's pretty much fired, which I was shocked by this. I think I said out loud, I was like, wow, like I was surprised. I didn't think they were going to fire her. I knew that she was doing stuff behind their back, like I just said, but I honestly didn't think that they would fire her over. I thought she was a lot more higher in the company. I thought she had built more trust. I didn't think they would just suspend her over this. But now back to the party. We get a quick scene of Irving sort of symbolizing, I guess, his character arc in a way, of how, if you guys remember Irving in the very beginning, he knew everything about the Egans, right? He saw here Egan is like a Jesus Christ figure when he was introducing Helly and he was showing them in the museum. Remember how passionate Irving was about the Egans? We get this scene where he reads a passage from one book, I'm guessing some sort of Egan book, and he puts the deviled egg in there, and he just squishes the book, symbolizing, I think, just his how he's just done with the Egans, or how he's ready to just bring this company down, the Lumen company. And it was just a good, character arc to see his innie come sort of full circle in a way. And then we get to see Helly and Mark talking, and they're flirting. They're flirting a little bit, and there's probably going to be some sort of love triangle between Helly and Mark and Miss Casey now. And maybe that other nurse girl from the real world, I forgot her name, that Mark was supposed to be dating, but, it didn't really end so well in the last episode, right? She just walked out. But Helly sort of starts flirting, and she was like, thank you for caring about me. And he's like, you're kind of easy to care about. And they start blushing and flirting. And before they can continue, Milchek says that he has to go deal with something. He doesn't tell them what it is, but it has to do with Harmony's firing. He has to sort of walk her out of the office. And so after this is where the group decides that this is their time to sort of strike in a way, right? So they all go to the control room, and this is where they're about to part with Dylan. So Dylan's going to stay back in the control room, while the 3 plan to go into the real world, like I said, where they know that they're going to be woken up there, right? And so they're going over their plan. Mark gets his brother-in-law's book, reads a passage, some inspiring words, right, that sort of symbolizes what's going on in their minds and with their boss, and how this is it's inspiring words, right? And it's funny how like Dylan knows the passage, like he quotes it along with Mark, like he knows the page. It's like this brother-in-law's book's like the Bible to them, you know. Where in the real world it's probably like nothing. It's probably like a bad book or something, right? And so we then see Irving go down the elevator, right? He says goodbye to them, and then Helly's about to go down, but she kisses Mark before she goes down. I like this moment a lot. It was something again that was building up throughout the whole season, you know, the sort of relationship between them. And to see it start to come into fruition now is pretty nice. But after this, Mark watches her leave. We see Mochek go back to the office. Everyone's gone, but Dylan stayed back, so he says, "I'll be out in a minute." All right, but here's where it gets weird. This is where the show takes a weird turn. We get to see Milchek bring Dylan to like this downstairs Egan sanctuary type of place, right? And I guess this was a part of his prize, I guess, for being that employee of the month sort of thing, right? If I'm not mistaken. And so he brings him to this room. There's a plate of like waffles and milk waiting for him. He eats the waffles, drinks the milk. At the bottom of the plate of where the waffles was, it says, "Go to the founder's bed." And so before he goes into the next room, there's like this Egan mask. And so he puts on the Egan mask. And while he's wearing the mask, a bunch of ladies just start coming out. And they have these weird, creepy masks on as well. Like there's one that like, I don't know, it was like she was looking up and like her mouth was a little bit open. It like creeped the hell out of me. And during this scene, the score was also really good with the sharp violins. So I give a lot of props to this scene for having a good score, for being genuinely creepy. Like I was genuinely like taken aback and felt I guess a little uncomfortable in a way, because it was just, the show didn't have any of this in there, right? Then all of a sudden you have Dylan in this weird Egan mask and these other girls coming out with like other masks on, just like dancing around him. Not even like a lap dance or like a stripper thing. It was just like weird ritual, weird dancing, like, or just around Dylan. He had to just watch. And so they look at him, like they're dancing, right? And we don't really get to see Dylan. It's like a POV. But once you go back, we see that the mask is there, but Dylan is gone, right? And we see that one of the masks is like, I don't know if it was a goat or a ram, but when I first saw it, I thought of goat. And, you know, everyone knows that the goat is sort of affiliated with like the devil. So I thought like maybe there's some sort of like satanic connection here with the Lumen Company. But that was just a thought, though, not really like a theory that I want to like go off on. But now in the real world, we go back to Harmony, who is still very upset about her firing. She's sort of like thrashing her whole house. She's like angry, screaming. We see her actually break the shrine, and she's holding like that. We talked about it at when we first saw the shrine, and I think someone in the comments also said that like that nurse bracelet thing that you get when you go into a hospital. It says your name. It said Charlotte. She was like clutching it, and it had like that like the oxygen breathing tubes that I don't know the exact name of, and she was clutching it, and someone said it might have been her mother. I think that maybe was her mother, and I thought, you know, the mother was an Egan or something like that, but I'm not really sure. But she was like clutching it and like crying, which like she broke the shrine, which I guess also symbolizes now her hatred for the company as well. And so while she's sort of having her outburst, Mark knocks on the door, sort of invites her to the brother-in-law's party. Well, he's sort of just wondering if she's going to show up, and it looks like she wasn't going to because she was, you know, upset. But then she has some sort of second thoughts, and she says that she'll take her own car and that she'll go to the party, right? And so at the party, it looks like it's something for like the brother-in-law's book, right? And they plan on reading some passages from the book. And Harmony shows up at the party. Mark and Harmony are talking. Mark tells her that he's actually thinking of quitting the company. And Harmony is very accepting of this. You know, I mean, as we know, like she just got fired from the company. Mark obviously doesn't know that she has any sort of affiliation with the company. But Harmony just starts saying like, yes, do that. It's what's for the best. Like, screw these guys or whatever, right? And so like, I think while they're hugging, they're about to walk into the party. Dylan's just about to flip the switch, and the episode ends with him flipping the switch so that you know, the outies become their innies in the real world, and then the episode ends on this big cliffhanger. And so I thought this was a tremendous cliffhanger, but it also got me so pissed because I was like, now we have to wait a whole nother week until we get to see what happens. You know, it was a really great cliffhanger. So my rating for this episode is actually the same as the last episode. I'm giving it a 3.9 out of 5. I think it was on the same tier as last episode. I don't think it was that much better than last episode. You know, as we remember, last episode had that, you know, crazy cliffhanger as well with Miss Casey being Mark's wife. You know, I think I got the same feeling sort of like for both these episodes with the ending. For this episode, the things I liked or that I was shocked about, I love the Miss Casey Mark interaction. I liked how Helly and Mark, you know, we saw their relationship sort of blooming. I like to see sort of like their plan of like sort of talking about doing what they had their plan for, which was, you know, waking up in the outside world we didn't get too much. It was sort of like vague for this whole episode, like what they were actually going to do. It was only to like the middle is when we sort of realized what they were going to actually do. Harmony being fired, that's pretty crazy. I wasn't expecting that. But everything else, it felt like it was good. Like I didn't think it was bad. It was fine. It just wasn't as maybe fast moving as I wanted for the second last episode. I thought we were gonna see a lot more. I thought we were gonna see like the Family Egan gala in this episode. I thought we were gonna just see a little bit more, but I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. I'm excited now more than ever for the finale. And there's still so much we got to know about with the rebellion, with that girl that we saw in the last episode, who killed the bodyguard. I still want to see the council. I think that maybe will be like a big tease at the end of the last episode. And now that I think of it, I think we do actually see the gala at the end. I mean, we see Helly in her Audi form, right? Which we never saw before as well. A quick little scene of her dressed up. And I think because we know that the gala is going on around this time, I'm guessing, there were theories that Helly wasn't Egan. I didn't really believe it, but now if she's at the gala, it would mean that she's an Egan, right? Why would she be at that gala? So if that's where she is at the end, then maybe Helly is an Egan, which would be pretty crazy. And then also with in the very beginning when we see what Irving is painting, it was sort of hard to make out in the beginning there, but it looks like what he's painting is the hallway that Miss Casey walks down in when she goes into the elevator. Like all that black painting around her, it looked just like what Irving was painting, So it's like, why is Irving's Audi painting stuff in general for the Lumen Company? It's usually just like the Innie is associated with the Lumen Company, and your Audi is able to do whatever it wants, pretty much, right? It's its free time. So why is Irving spending his free time doing stuff for the Lumen Company? It's weird. I don't know. Definitely some cool theories come out of that, though. In terms of theories for next episode, though, I think it's gonna be the best episode by far. Obviously, that's easy to say for a finale, but I just don't think it's gonna disappoint. The way that this episode set it up, it's got to just start with a bang, like boom, like they're woken up. We're gonna see Irving wake up and he's painting, and like now Irving's Innie will figure out like what that black gook was. Like it's all his painting. He'll probably just snoop around, maybe find some stuff on like why he's working with the Lumen Company. If Helly wakes up and if she's at the gala, imagine her reaction when she wakes up and she's surrounded by a bunch of Egans, and the whole Lumen Company, maybe like council is there. Like she's gonna go crazy, right? Mark's gonna wake up. What I hope happens with Mark is what I kind of said in episode 6 video, is that I predicted that, well, I guess my prediction wouldn't come into fruition with this, but it's somewhat similar, is that I think that maybe Mark, no, I guess it wouldn't work out. I said that Mark would snap out of his severance when he reads a passage from his brother-in-law's book because he remembers it, because his Innie remembers it, and that's what would like snap it out of it. But now with the switch, he would just snap out of it anyway, so there'd be no point of like him reading the passage and then he snaps out. It wouldn't be cool at all. But he'll be at the brother-in-law's party, and maybe Mark will meet the brother-in-law who's like the writer of this book, and sort of like gush over him and look at him as like a Jesus figure, because like he wrote this book that he sees like the Bible sort of. I think that'd be kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna see Harmony. He may call out Harmony right in front of everyone. I don't know. I think it's just gonna be crazy from the get-go. Definitely gonna be the best episode. I'm excited to see the gala. I'm excited to see the Egans. I hope we get to see the council. This is the last episode. We got to get some answers. Definitely with the rebellion stuff too. With everything with PD and what was happening with him. And then I don't even know how I'd want it to end, because there's so much that this show could do. And I think it would just be cool just to see like the scale of the Lumen Company. Like I know people are saying that maybe the town is controlled by Lumen. I'd love to see maybe some sort of global thing where we get like a pan out shot and we see Lumen companies like all over the world. I think that'd be cool. It could create like this high stakes sort of maybe like this global resistance thing going on. But yeah, I mean, this is a show I'm kind of just sitting back and I'm enjoying, because the theories are, I think the Irving stuff with the painting is really cool, and there's so much to dissect there. The Miss Casey stuff and how her life is literally just these meetings is so sick, and it's disturbing to think about, but like it's a crazy concept. And Helly being at the gala is an awesome theory, and that she's an Egan, that's really cool, because her Innie totally rejects that, but maybe her Audi is all about it. So let me know down below, what did you guys think of tonight's episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know down below any theories you guys got, any sort of comments. Please make sure to like the video, and please make sure to subscribe if you're new, but that is pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you all in the next video.